Hey, what's up, my dudes? It's Sleepy of Sleepy's Planet. I decided that while I'm in a little bit of a Monster Hunter break from streaming, that we would look at some like Monster Hunter videos and some like Monster Hunter lore shit. So today we're gonna watch Monster Hunter lore about Fatalis. I have probably fought Fatty like 100 times or something like that, like something crazy like that, dude. But I don't really know a lot about him. Yeah, I don't really know a lot about him. So I guess let's learn about everybody's favorite big black dragon, except for when he's white, which I've never seen white Dallas. So yeah, let's see.
Welcome back to TDS. My name is Chris and I welcome you to another very exciting lore video. The Black Flame, the name given to the black dragon who wiped the kingdom of Shrade and its castle off the map. A dragon said to melt hunters and their armor into its scales, creating a seemingly unkillable threat. Fatalis is one of the most legendary monsters in Monster Hunter, and the final update to Iceborne treated us one more showing. A monster that rarely saw open coverage and information on it was very rare. Today we're going to break this beast down and talk about what makes this walking cataclysm work. Work just like our sponsor Patreon. That's right, today's video is sponsored by Patreon. Because of the continuous support of
I
our
used to have a
patrons,
Patreon.
we are able to come up with a roadmap
If you
where
know,
we are
you
going
know.
to upload one new lore video every single week. We actually have multiple people working on those, from writing the script, to recording footage, to recording the voice, to editing, and finally translating into Chinese and Japanese. Without Patreon, it would currently be impossible for us to begin such an ambitious and time-consuming project. So a huge shout out to everyone who supports us there. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoy watching these videos. Alright, let's get into it. For those unfamiliar, Fatalis is a massive dragon pulling from European mythology for its appearance, with enormous wings capable of flight and twisting black horns. Strangely, this beast stands out from its fellow monsters for its very historic design, similar to how dragons from fairy tales appear. When enraged, Fatalis shows that it contains a molten core in its chest. The only indication we have of the source of its power is the fact that Fatalis' flames weaken after its horns have been broken off, suggesting that there's some sort of a conduit or controller. Fatalis and Castle Shrade share a good amount of history together. As stated in the cutscene showing Fatalis in Iceborne, the last stand of this entire kingdom took place here, which we can see suggestions of by the various siege equipment scattered about in the ruined castle where our fight takes place.
Yeah, honestly,
One interest
this arena is probably one of my favorite arenas. It probably is my favorite arena in World, just like my favorite place to fight a monster, just because it's really cool how they like set it up and stuff. So usually how it would go, at least people that I would play, is people would drop in with ghillie mantles on, load cannons, and we would start off by cannoning the fuck out of him while people not on cannons would just like get in position to fight and stuff. And yeah, God, I've done, like I said, I've done this fight probably like over 100 times, both like with people, like with my community, and also just like on my own, because for a while I was doing solo fatty runs. Yeah, no, I have very, very fond memories of this fight.
Interesting detail is the arena itself appears to be covered in signs of burnt ground, giving us an example from the past of Fatalis' flames melting the stones. This helps you as the hunter understand the sheer power of what you're dealing with before you experience this power firsthand yourself. Watching its flame breath melt huge chunks of the arena away and deal massive damage to you and your team members is a truly terrifying experience. At 2 points when fighting Fatalis, the hunter is forced to take cover behind heavy barriers of metal,
that's like
only to
phase
watch
one.
it melt away, hinting at a much worse fate you may have suffered if you were unable to hide. However, this flame can actually help the hunter, destroying the improvised barricade and granting access to the entire arena, including more siege weapons and an additional barrier to hide behind.
Yeah.
Alongside this, watching the
okay.
flames will help.
The amount of times that people have decided to meme me and close me out of the fucking gate, bro. Too many times, man. Too many fucking times, man.
You to understand how much damage you are doing to Fatalis. All of its flame attacks lose power as you break the horns, giving the hunter a chance to survive its massive arena covering breath attacks. This flame is the embodiment of the hatred Fatalis feels towards hunters, as well as most life on the planet. The awesome power of the Black Dragon doesn't end with its flames. Even shifting its weight deals a huge amount of physical damage because its scales and body are so heavy. While these attacks aren't as powerful as its flames, the sheer force of being landed on or even getting hit by a claw swipe can be deadly to unprepared hunters. Fatalis also has one of the largest health pools in Iceborne. For comparison, when facing 4 players, a Tempered Ruiner Gigante has around 80,000 HP, whereas Fatalis clocks in at 168,000,
Holy fuck,
over
I didn't
twice
know
as
that.
much, speaking to its overwhelming strength. Very little on Fatalis is actually considered a weakness. The dragon appears to have relatively poor vision, and we believe this to be due to the composition of its eyes, which seem to be made entirely of crystal. This leads to the use of less precise sweeping and explosive attacks, giving the hunters chances to evade. Its chest and head are the biggest weak points, but tenderizing these spots is relatively risky. In contrast, its tail is incredibly dense and will bounce even the sharpest of weapons. Most of this biology is true not just of the Black Fatalis we know from Monster Hunter World, but all the variants of Fatalis we've seen throughout the history of the franchise.
Yeah, Black Fatalis
However,
is the only
each
one I
of
know.
these new forms has their skills that differ from the last. White Fatalis wields lightning to smite its foes, and Crimson Fatalis uses a far more explosive fire breath and the ability to summon meteors to rain down on its targets. All this
That's
power makes
sick
sense
as
given
fuck.
Fatalis' preferred prey. In Monster Hunter Freedom, the typically docile and massive Lao Shan Lung is seen running away from Castle Shrate. Here Fatalis is scaring away a monster capable of walking through and flattening villages without a second thought. However, other dragons are not the only thing Fatalis prey upon, as there are reports from hunters in the field of Fatalis melting defeated hunters and their armor into its own hide to wear as armor. These reports
crazy,
call
dude.
this action slow and deliberate, and given the intelligent way that Fatalis fights, it makes sense that it knows exactly what it is doing. We can see an action very much like this during the Iceborne version of the fight, in which Fatalis pins the hunter to its molten core and attempts to smash them completely into its scales. Little else is known about the ecology of Fatalis, aside from the fact they have been seen to lay eggs, though only one instance of hatching has ever been observed. This baby Fatalis was said to grow to adulthood in a
Wait.
matter of hours.
Okay. So, like, I'm not the best with biology, but there has to have been more than one Fatalis egg ever because there's more than one Fatalis, right? Like, that's just like logic.
The further maturation of this Fatalis is unknown and leaves more questions than it answers. All of this power and mythology being spoken of about one species of monster has led to it being referred as a hunter's ultimate goal, despite the guilds and Capcom's best efforts to keep all knowledge about Fatalis under wraps. The danger of the monster and the importance of its defeat mean that the quests are only ever given to the best of the best hunters. While Fatalis itself is quite a fascinating monster to look at on its own, its armor paints an even more grim and terrifying picture. The Dragon Head
armor's fucking
Alpha is said to
sick as
evoke
fuck.
the howl of Fatalis and remind the wearer of its gaze. The Dragon Hide Alpha takes this one step further. It is said to give those who wear it terrible nightmares. The Dragon Claws Alpha possess the ability to make the wearer fear for their lives,
Look, it's worth
showing
it.
the despair that Fatalis inspires does not end with its death. However, these armor pieces don't just draw the line at messing with a hunter's mind when worn. Fear is one thing, but the legends about the Dragon Barbs Alpha outright claim that the armor will kill the wearer in the end. Lastly, the description we're given for the Dragon Feet Alpha tells us the wearer is abandoned to their thirst for blood. All this combines to mean that those who wear the full set of Fatalis armor are lost to nightmares, terror, a bloodlust that cannot be sated, and eventually death. Even when slain and rendered into armor for a hunter, Fatalis' hatred for humanity can still be felt. Previous versions of Fatalis' armor carry similar language with two rather notable exceptions. In 4 Ultimate, when the Fatalis armor is forged, the blacksmith comments that this black armor has such an unsettling strength that your arms appear to be actually Fatalis' own arms. The feet even go so far as to make you feel like your legs are being seized by Fatalis. All of this has caused a legend to be shared amongst hunters that those who wear the armor of Fatalis are doomed to surrender to its influence and become a new Fatalis. This theory has some legs.
Okay, but like, if I could be a big black dragon instead of a person, why the fuck would I want to be a person? Bruh.
If we consider the strange dark blade found in Poke Village. This dark blade seems to regenerate, being able to be mined daily. The materials obtained from this curious artifact can be used to create lesser versions of Fatalis' gear. This correlation leads some to believe that even in the form of a giant blade or armor, Fatalis is still alive inside of them. These remarkable regenerative abilities explain perfectly why the armor in World increases your health and stamina to the max.
Yeah,
this is
the
all we know
armor's
about Black
fucking lit,
Fatalis
dude.
as he appears in Iceborne, but if we take a look to the past, we can learn even more by taking a deep dive into 2 other variants of Fatalis, Crimson and White Fatalis. Crimson Fatalis is the most angry and violent of all the Fatalis.
So for anybody who's watching this that doesn't know my like Monster Hunter experience, I am a Monster Hunter World player. That's when I started. I've also played Rise and Wilds. I'm on a break from Wilds until probably until the expansion. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, I have not seen any other versions of Fatalis because I'm a 5th fleeter.
Variants. Found
know
sequestered
about
deep in the
them.
volcanic Ingle Isle, Crimson Fatalis has a far more explosive fighting style, slamming meteors into the ground and pulverizing
That's
foes with its
sick as
blast
fuck,
attacks.
dude.
While Black Fatalis can be described in fancier words like spiteful and deliberate, Crimson Fatalis is pure rage. And it's known to throw its head back towards the sky in a roar that sends meteors crashing to Earth.
お前の作った力ではない。隕石、どうやって
The fact that Crimson lives in a volcano speaks to its thermal resistance and overall resilience. Unlike the other 2 Fatalis variants who have 4 horns that are largely symmetrical, Crimson has 1 enlarged horn and 3 smaller ones. It also has extremely thick scales and an overall molten appearance. There are theories that this is somehow the same Fatalis slain at Castor Shrade, after which it moved deep into the volcano, changing over time into the rage-filled monster we see today. When speaking of the armor of Crimson Fatalis, a grim story is told. The tale speaks about the many destructions and resurrections Fatalis has endured, feeding back into theories of Fatalis' regenerative capabilities. The legend continues, saying the wrath claws usher in calamity, guiding us to our final resting place, while footsteps of the wrath feet appear as starfalls, warning of doom to come.
Those just look like dragon
However,
feet, bro.
while Crimson is the most angry, the title of the most ferocious of the Fatalis variants goes to White Fatalis, also known as Old Fatalis. Its English title is
he's got, like, a fucking
Ancestral
beard,
Dragon,
too.
and it lives up to that name. With luminous white scales and a fur running down its back and tail, White Fatalis strikes a very different image than its counterparts. It seems to glow much like a Kirin, and its horns are almost
That's kind of
antler-like
what I
in
was
shape.
looking at. Like, yeah, that's what I was
When
fucking
enraged,
thinking.
it shares the red glowing chest with its counterparts. But in this state, it instead regenerates red lightning. When pushed far enough, White Fatalis can even take to the sky and far above Castle Strait and bombard hunters with lightning as seen in Generations Ultimate. This attack leaves the hunters with no options aside from a Farcaster or quick evasion. White Fatalis can be seen in many games, but its
That
most
looks
powerful
crazy.
appearance was in Monster Hunter Frontier Z, in which it could discharge massive beams of energy so strong that instead of just carting, it sent the hunter back to the village, almost as if you were erased from existence instead of being placed in the camp as usual. White Fatalis is one of the tougher monsters to bring down, and its armor reflects that skill required to tangle with it. We've seen what the armor of Red and Black Fatalis are like, but White Fatalis offers a far more hopeful message. The armor has a beautiful and light aura, set to never be dulled by any damage, with a glow that only brightens as its wearer demonstrates their skill. Instead of being doomed, those wearing the armor of White Fatalis seem to become a beacon, erasing even their own shadow. All of this armor is from dead creatures, and all of the information there is about Fatalis' armor parts in general speak about the resurrection and destruction, meaning that all three Fatalis, Crimson, White, and Black, are here to stay, and simply slaying them will not stop them. All of this said, there are a few other interesting traits.
Okay, so like as somebody who's killed this dude like hundreds of times, it is wild to think about him not dying, dude.
That all of these monsters share. Firstly, none of the Fatalis variants have any real connection to the new world. The hunters in Iceborne even have to travel back to the old world to confront the walking threat. Unlike many elders, Fatalis also has no hyper, apex, or tempered versions as of making this video.
Oh shit, I didn't
Meaning
think about
these
that. That's
dragons are
true.
already at their strongest forms
Yeah,
when
that's true.
fighting them. There's one last thing we can mention when it comes to Fatalis. A legend known as the Black Flame describes a Fatalis different from the ones we've seen. This form is said to have 6 horns, a glowing blue chest, a mane stretching between its spikes, and the ability to wield a power called the Black Flame. This is its own element, a fearsome combination of the power of the dragon and the flame. Named as Sapphire Fatalis by some, this form of Fatalis is somehow even more destructive and resilient than any of the other forms. Fortunately, the guild claims these are only myths, and we have nothing to worry about. We hope you enjoyed our lore video on Fatalis. Let us know down below which monster you would like to see next. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
All right, chat. All right, my dudes. Okay. This was actually cool as fuck. I'm thinking of like doing more of these and watching more of these to see if I can reignite my spark for Monster Hunter. I just haven't. I don't know. I streamed Monster Hunter and was a dedicated Monster Hunter streamer for like 2 fucking years, and then I just like got out of it. I don't know. But maybe we'll do this live sometime this week. See if anybody wants to watch some Monhun lore and just talk shit. If that's something you guys are interested in, just let me know below, and I'll see when I can schedule with Mr. Sleepy for that. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Peace.